Okay, so now we've gotten, we did a lot of like the tools of Photoshop. Now we're going to get into more of the design, so like the layout and what it's going to look like when you are designing something. And so we're going to talk about three different, I don't know if you'd call them techniques or just layouts or what you'd call them. But it's ways to make things look good on whatever you're creating. So this is just an example of one, and I'm sure you've heard of these. If you ever had a photo class, an art class, you're going to talk about layout styles. What layout would this represent? You guys know, just right off the top of your head. Yeah, it could be asymmetrical. I like that. We're going to talk about asymmetrical today. If you split it down the middle, you've got weight on both sides. Yep, we'll talk about that. I like that. Give me another one. We're going to talk about three of them today: asymmetrical, symmetrical, and then rule of thirds. Yep, those are three we're going to talk about today. So this will be your rule of thirds. Split it into tic-tac-toe grid, and it's going to give you, something along these lines. So you put on your whatever you're creating, you put a tic-tac-toe grid on it, and then you design accordingly. There's something about thirds that we like to see. It's things just come in three. They're pleasing to our eyes. Nobody knows why. That's just the way it's been and the way it always is. So you split your document into thirds, and then these are called hot points, where your crosshairs come together, or where your vertical and horizontal lines come together. And that's where you'd put focal points in your creations. In fact, they've done studies on which which hot points are better. So your eyes always start at the top left. Why do you think that is? That's how we read, right? We start at the top left, we go down to the bottom right. So really, you wouldn't want your main focal point down on this bottom right. Now you can always break the rules and put your focal point down here. But if you got something super important that you want your viewers to see, I would probably put it in that top left corner. Okay. You can also break this down into different just grid styles and take different grids. And grid layouts are very popular right now. You would actually take a rule of thirds and then you'd split it again, so you'd have what would that be, like 6 by 6 grids on there. And then you can just break up those grids on how you want to design. So this one is just what you're going to select to use, and they're using different thirds in different ways. Okay, put your phones away, please. Let me see your eyeballs. Thank you. These are just some images on what it would look like for the rule of thirds. This one they've used the horizon along that top edge, beach along the bottom third, and especially put your subject on that right third there. Same thing, look at your horizon on the bottom, Statue of Liberty on the left. Hot points. These are actually websites that are using the rule of thirds, so most of their information's on that right 2/3, nothing on the left. A lot of times it'd be a menu on that left side, like the one above it. This is just like an advertisement. You can see all the information up here on that right third, and on the left third has the whole gnome. Especially look at the crosshairs there, and it's right on his eyeball. Okay, just some examples, some more websites. It's crazy if you watch video too. We talk about this in video, and if you take the rule of thirds and put it over a shot, it's amazing how often they use the rule of thirds. You can even turn this on your phone. All your phones have a setting on it that you can put the rule of thirds on it, so when you're taking pictures or video or whatever, you can position your people accordingly. Okay. Then we have symmetry versus asymmetry. Symmetry just means exactness, or it's just alike, right? So if I split something down the middle, if I split this image down the middle, flip it left and right, it's exactly the same, symmetrical. Asymmetrical or asymmetry, if I split it down the middle, it's not balanced, but what they call weight is. So the weight-wise, it is balanced. So if you have something symmetrical, you put it on a fulcrum or on a teeter-totter. So I've got a teeter-totter here, it's going to be exactly the same, right? It balances out. Your design would look great. Same thing. Just some symmetrical patterns, no matter which direction I flip them, it's going to be exactly the same. This one would be symmetrical, because if you split down the middle, it's exact. Would this be symmetrical? Technically, no, right? Yeah, because if I split it down the middle, if I split it this way or this way, you're not getting quite symmetrical there. So this would be a little asymmetrical, but it still has that same weight to it. You can also do this when we get into asymmetrical. You still want to think about weight and how things are on the image. So if I have something great big on one side, I can put a whole bunch of little things on the other side, and then that still balances out, but it's asymmetrical now. Okay, this would be that I just push the, did I skip one? I thought I skipped one, maybe not. So this would be if I have something, if you have a teeter-totter, and have you guys ever been on a teeter-totter? Do they still have teeter-totters around? They should put those back in playgrounds. A little dangerous, but they should put them in playgrounds. You know, if you have your dad on it on one side, and your kids on one side, I could have sworn I had one more. Nope, I don't. And your kids on one side, if you only have one kid, you can't put dad on the very end and the kid on the very end, right? Because what's going to happen to the kid? He's going to get launched, right? So you put dad closer to the center to balance out the kid over on this side. You do the same thing in design. You put your heavyweight stuff closer to the middle, and if you only have one thing, you'd put that farther back to balance that out. Very similar. We'll talk about positive and negative space down the road too. This would be a negative space in this area that gives you balance. So if I split this in half and flip it, asymmetrical, but it still weighs the same. What are your main subjects here? Bird and the what? And the ball, right? So if we select the bird and the ball, and even they've selected the water in here, if I split that down the middle, so you got the water, the bird and the ball, that's going to be very symmetrical. It's going to be very balanced. Okay. What about this one? What are my focal points? House, trees. Okay. So let's select the house and the trees. This tree's a little bit lighter. Even if we did select that tree, it would still give it to you. But the house spills over the fulcrum point. So you split that in half. That's going to feel balanced and look balanced for you. What about this shot? You got the hammock. You got the boats. You got a couple boats in there. And then you got the little island thing in the middle, or in the background. Okay, so if we take those, put those on a fulcrum, this is what it'll look like. Split that down the middle. You know, this green, the island weighing out back here is going to give you better weight. So that's going to balance everything out for you. Okay, just some images that show this. So you have the big elephant. Look how the big elephant slid over a little bit. Gives you some balance. 3 pine cones to the 1. Chess pieces, same thing. You got your bigger one on the left up. It's more of a focal point. Now movie posters. Movie posters, we'll talk about what we've been talking about. But it's also interesting. Remember when we first started the course, we talked about creativity. It's a remix. So it's something that you think about. It's the experience that you've had. Movie posters are famous for this. They go, they look back on what everybody else has created. So this is all back-to-back people in there. And if you split these down the middle, you'd be pretty symmetrical. You got the same subject on both sides. If it's asymmetrical, look at the game plan. I really like the game plan. Split that down the middle, so you got the rock on the left, and then you got the, I don't remember her name, little girl with the suitcases and the dog on the right-hand side to balance all that out. Here's people on benches. Again, look at if you split them down the middle, even look at your rule of thirds. Look at this one for the rule of thirds. You got this lady on the left and the guy on the right. They're on the right third and left thirds. You even have Wally on a bench. Look at the Wally one. You've even got the spaceship on the left-hand side that balances out the light on the right side. The moon split down the middle would balance out. So eyeballs, what kind of shows are these? Horror ones. Yeah. Most of them are symmetrical, split them down the middle. Got your blues. What kind of movies are these? Wildlife, nature, outdoorsy ones. I like the geese. Look at the geese one down in the bottom left. Split that down the middle. You got some great big ones up front, some little ones in the back, but there's more little ones. Yeah, this is all over the place. How about superheroes on corners of buildings? Look at Superman. Split Superman down the middle. You've got the planet over on the left-hand side, the globe, and then you got his cape on the other side to balance that out. There's all sunglasses. Here's all your people next to people. Yeah, these are all your rom-coms. Or even just a chick flick, even. Look at your rule of thirds. Look at these ones. This one here, it's rule of thirds. You got the three people right along the top, the horse along the bottom third. Yeah. That's a lot of yellow. Yep. These are black and orange. What kind of movies are these? These are all your action movies, right? Yeah, how many Nicolas Cage movies are there out there? Yeah. Bangkok is 1, 2. What else is he in? He's in a ton. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's in 5 of those. You got your blues. What kind of movies are these? These are some different blues and blacks. These are more your suspense. Yeah. You got the Bournes. The Bournes are good movies. Taken. Have you guys seen Taken? But look at your balance on these too. I mean, look at this one here. You got the couple people in the background. Split them down the middle, and then you've got these over here that would give you the weight on the other side. Look at the riders. Split down the middle with the threes on the... So you can kind of see, can you get that feel of how things are balanced? There's just words over the top of people. Okay. Now, for your project today, it's not going to be so much of a creation, because I don't know if everybody finished the last. Did you guys finish last time? I think some of you did. Oh, we had a work day last time, huh? So you guys are in good shape, yeah. So this time you're just going to go out and you're going to find movie posters, and you're going to kind of make a creation of symmetry, asymmetry, and rule of thirds. So you're going to find 3 movie posters that are symmetrical, and then you're going to put those on your document, label it symmetrical, and then show me with a line how they're symmetrical. Okay. Just in Photoshop. You're going to make an 11 by 17. So you're going to have your poster, and then I don't care what order they're in, but you're going to say symmetrical up here, and then you're going to have 3 movie posters, and then it's going to be asymmetrical, and then you're going to have 3, and then you're going to have rule of thirds, and 3. So 9 movie posters. 1 document. Yep. But I really want you to take the time to label them, especially the asymmetrical ones. So the asymmetrical ones, you're going to split it down the middle, and then you're going to tell me how it's weighted on both sides. So like if I took this and put a fulcrum here, is it really balanced? This one's pretty good. So you've got the 2. See how they've got the boxes around it, but those boxes would balance if you put that on a fulcrum. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. The Star Wars, they forgot Darth Vader on this one. They probably should have added the background of Darth Vader, but that still would have left that, and Leia, but that still would have left that pretty balanced. They probably could have put Luke and Leia together on that one. Okay? Yes, that was a crazy movie. Okay, so when you go to draw your lines too, make sure, I should show you this real quick. Let me show you this real quick. So you're going to do it in portrait, of course. Don't do landscape. The portrait, your movie posters will fit better. But when you go to draw your line, so you've got your line down. It's underneath your, where's my shapes? Underneath your shapes. You've got your, you've got your line tool. So when you go to draw your line, you should be able to just draw a line. But look at your, a lot of times you'll change this pixels right here for your stroke and fill. This pixels is for your stroke. So if you made something bigger, it's going to put an outline in it, and then it's going to, that's how big that is. Your stroke for this is actually clear over here under weight. So instead of 1 pixel, if I did 5 there, so make your lines thick enough so that I can see them. So if I did 5 there and then draw a line, it's going to give me a thicker line. Okay, and it didn't give me a stroke on that, but it made it green. So my green is from my fill. If I had a stroke on it, the bigger I get on this, you would see a line going around it, yeah. But to make your line thicker, it's clear to the right. That's a lot of students miss where that is at. Okay. If it happens to give you an arrow, and we'll talk about this on the road, if it happens to give you an arrow, under the settings, there's an arrow down there. Arrowhead, start and end. But don't mess with the arrows for now. Okay. Questions? Can I let you loose? Okay, have fun with it. Also, as you're starting to create, sorry, then I'll be quiet. As you're starting to create, and one of our last project is movie posters. You're going to create your own movie poster. That's going to be the kind of the final thing for Photoshop at the end of the quarter. So just in a couple of weeks. Yep. Yep. So think about as you're finding these movie posters, think about what you would like to create. You can start from scratch. You can take an existing movie poster and change it. You can take a bunch of them and put them into one. I mean, it's totally up to you how you go about doing that. But as you're looking for these, then just kind of get some ideas.